Chair, that there's a motion by Ms. Leloy, second by Ms. David, to recommend passage of Bill 83 on first reading.
The applicant, Olson Trust, is withdrawing the subject applications for this project.
Disturbed and bothered by the fact that this is being withdrawn from everything that we had brought forth, and Chair, to your credit for pushing SHPD and getting the state to get things lined up. We have a terrible housing shortage in our county. We're needing 25,000 more homes by 2025. And this is a small step, but it was a step towards that. So I just have to express my concern for our county as a whole. And I'm not sure why they are withdrawing, but it sure makes me suspicious of the process. So thank you. I yield.
I want to thank the Olsons for, and Mr. Fuke representing them. Mr. Cross was here as well. Moving forward together with the community. So my respect for that process. So I don't think there's anything suspicious about it. I think it's a good statement that there will be continued work with the community, and that's important. So that's a good model, and I respect the Olsons for recognizing that as well.
I worked really hard to bring SHPD and others to the table to bring attention to resolving issues that we felt needed to be addressed before we could make a decision. We just need to pay attention to the process. Ms. Poindexter.
And I'd just like to say that I do pay attention to the process, and anytime anything within my district is coming from the commission, the community is notified, and they do participate. A lot of times we cannot vote for the commission. We cannot, period. So it depends on if it comes at a negative or positive, recommendation from them. We've had negative recommendation come from them, and my community had turned that around when it came to the council. But they also participated at the commission level. So I just want the public to know that I know and maybe many of the other districts, I cannot speak for them, we pay close attention to the process. So thank you.
Oh, Ms. Poindexter, this wasn't directed at anyone. I think just in my time here on the council, I noticed that in general, some folks are plugging in at inopportune times.
We as a body, I think we asked the right questions and we dug for the right answers, and we got a lot of the answers we wanted, and those answers did not always point in a good direction. So I think on this matter, I think we did do our jobs, and we did our jobs well. And I really appreciate what this body did there, because it highlights our abilities and highlights what we are expecting from the people who come before us. And I really appreciate what we've done here. So thank you. And I love Ed Olson. I love what he's done for our community. But this was a very, with what's happening right now, this was a very important item that we had to address. So thank you. I just want to say thank you to this body for doing what we did.
Along the way, and I'm going to reiterate this, it's only my opinion, we got stuck in these red herrings, like with the cemetery. And I did ask those people who were there at the meeting, even, one who was, very interested in that cemetery. I said, how many, raise your hand, how many people know people buried in that cemetery? Nobody raised their hands. How many people knew of that cemetery before this whole thing came up? Zero. And I think, and again, I cannot speak for Mr. Olson or anybody working for him, but I gotta believe just the suggestion that someone would purposely go and desecrate burial sites is really offensive, in my opinion. And that's why I wanted to stay away from that. I mean, but SHPD, and through Ms. Kirkowitz's efforts, got precedent to action. But we're really close. We're working through all of this. But I think the continual focus on these cemeteries, and to even suggest that some people would, like we all agreed, everyone on this board agreed that you don't do those things. So to suggest that someone else would do that on purpose, I think was a bit too much, really. I'm just surmising. I could be wrong. You know what? I have no idea why this thing was pulled, but I know we were close, and I know that the consultants knew that we were just a word or two from getting this thing moving forward. So they just, in spite of it all, they just said, "Hey, we're pulling this thing off." Yeah. So that's my view.